Welcome to Kegums for the Latvian Grand Prix, round 10 of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. My name's Paul Malin. You join us on a brighter day to what it was first thing this morning. We had a rainstorm around about 8 o'clock this morning, right the way through the morning warm-up sessions. We had a little bit of rain during the night as well, but so far so good. The sun is out, and the fans that are lining the circuit here should be in for a real treat, because in MX1 we have a new championship leader. Clement de Sal now just 3 points ahead of Antonio Cairoli. The Red Bull KTM rider had 2 DNFs registered next to his name in the championship classification after the Swedish Grand Prix. A stone jamming up the rear wheel in Moto number 1 and an offline excursion in Moto number 2 meant that he couldn't finish the race. As for the rest of the championship, Christophe Pourcel is just 12 points off the lead, with Gauthier Paulin only 33 off, 21 points off of Pourcel. So potentially we've got a 4-way battle about to ensue for the second half of the season in MX1. Last year's winner was Tony Cairoli with a double race win over Stephen Frossard and Evgeny Bobryshev. Those riders going 1-1, 2-2 and 3-3. Tony Cairoli also a winner here in 2009 with a second and a first, but Clement de Sal, he's won here as well in 2010 when he went 1-2. Tony Cairoli was second, Ramon third, and Evgeny Bobryshev fourth. So Bobby has form here, so too does Rui Gonçalves, winning an MX2 Grand Prix here the first time we came here in 2009 with a second and a first over Marvin Muscat. So a little bit of track work being done, but we're getting ready to go down to the grid. Here's Amy.
It's MX1, it's race 1. Let's go and have a word with some of our riders. Rui Gonçalves, you had a great qualifying result yesterday. You looked as though you found a good rhythm out there on the track.
Yeah, sure, really. Yesterday was really good. I had a good start and managed to have a good qualifying race, which was important for the gate today. And I like the track, so just stay focused for a good start and for a solid race.
Thanks, Rui. Best of luck out there. Let's move down and have a word with Sean Simpson. 2 weeks ago in Sweden, we saw him take his best GP result of the year. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's been good. You know, my Monster Energy Yamaha has been real kind to me these last couple of weeks. I've actually switched on-ins, as most people know, so into the Rinaldi team now, and the bike seems to be getting me out the gate, which I needed. And I showed yesterday again with a good start. I can finish up in the top 5 or 6. So the sun's out now. Let's go out and have a play and hopefully get in the top 5 again. Should be good. Thanks,
Sean. Right, before we see the MX1 race 1, we're going to take a look behind the scenes of Latvia Elksni Honda. Tell me about the riders in your team this year.
Our team is for 3 riders for World Cup, and in the MX1 is riding August Just, then second is Robert Just. Robert Just is MX2. He has an injury and he will not participate in this competition. Instead of him will go Rick from Holland. Roberts is becoming much better and better. He will go to Russia for the race.
How has this year been for you?
Season starts not so good because I was nervous about MX1 class. There's many strong guys, and it's really tough to go with those guys. But it's getting better in France and Italy. I scored 1 point, and it was pretty good. But in Portugal I crashed and broke my rib, so it was a step back for me. But now in Sweden I was really tough because the weather was not so good. But I was feeling good and I was riding really good. My team was helping me like always, and so it was easier. And yeah, I hope to get a good result here in my home GP for Kegums, and hopefully again top 15.
I really wanted to ride here in front of my home crowd and in my home track. I hurt my shoulder in French GP, it was fourth GP for me, and in first 3 GPs I scored points, and I will be back in Russia to score more points, and I hope I'm gonna finish in top 20 for this season.
It's your second GP with the team. How are you finding it so far?
I enjoy the team. MX2 class is difficult. I hope I take points this weekend.
Teko also has an injury, and it looks like that he will not participate till the end of the year. Also, we have a rider for European Championship. It's Matthias Plesser, but he also will not participate because of the injury of his shoulder.
First race in Saint-Jean. It's my only race I rode. Well, it was not so good. I wasn't comfortable with myself and didn't qualify because I crashed in the qualifying race. But yeah, I'm hoping for the rest of the season I can get some good results, not in the championship, but only like good race results or good overall finish in a GP race. And I rode Agueda and the GP of Bastogne, but in the warming up I broke my collarbone.
And it's your 4th year now in the World Championship. Are you happy with the progress the team has made from beginning to now?
Yeah, we are really happy because in the first years it was just to participate and see how everything is happening. But now we are going more often in the points, and I think the nearest targets will always be in the points between 10 and 12, 20.
Commander Sal. There we just see him on the grid just a moment ago. As he prepares for this first race. Toni Cairoli, though, was the fastest man in the qualifying race after starting second behind Rui Gonçalves and then eventually going through on lap 5. Sal finished in 3rd place ahead of Didajka, Paulin, Simpson and Bobryshev, who got up to 3rd before a crash, and then it was Strybos, Daruva and Tanel Leok. Sebastian Pourcel, Christophe Pourcel, David Goneri and Xavier Bourg all went down at turn 1, and at the moment we're just experiencing 1 or 2 problems with our monitor here. So Adam Wheeler from ontrackoffroad.com joins me. Adam, just witnessed a strange MX2 race, and
yeah,
Tommy Searle, I'm not sure if the championship is lost there or not, but it was a tough break for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a big 22 points. I think I just wrote somewhere on Twitter, Paul. I think Tommy's finished in the top 2 in every moto so far this season. So, you know, to not get those first 2 positions in at least 2 races, I mean, that's a 40 to 50 point deficit. So it's, you know, pretty bad news for the Kawasaki rider.
Yeah, and of course, we don't know whether the bike actually stopped or whether it was just a case of him pulling over beforehand, knowing that it was about to go. But either way, it doesn't look good for him. Still, obviously, a lot of races to go. But right now, though, we're getting ready for MX1. And quite a mouth-watering prospect. And all eyes are going to be on this battle for the first place in the championship between Toni Cairoli and Clément de Sal as they duke it out. De Sal, of course, Adam Wheeler, the new championship leader.
Yeah, wearing that red plate, Paul. 15 seconds to go. Let's see what he can do at the start.
Well, the 5-second board does go up right now, and the gate about to drop. Toni Cairoli here nearest the camera gets a flyer out of the start line. And, well, he holds a nice tight inside line, but just experiencing 1 or 2 colour issues here on our monitors. But
that's a Honda. I think it's Bobryshev. Or was it Gonçalves who managed to keep tight? It's Gonçalves.
Yeah, Gonçalves on board, but yeah, apologies for the lack of recognition.
That's
We've got
DeSalle.
yeah, DeSalle on board is leading here, but in terms of our own colours inside here on the monitors, everything's gone a bit red. So we'll try and work on that. Hopefully it's not a live broadcast issue, but we are just looking through here as Cairoli there in second.
DeSalle,
Goes
big mistake.
down. He tried to close in on the outside of Rui Gonçalves there, just a little bit too eager, too keen, and he goes down in that right-hand turn. So
what was he doing?
Not good there for Clement DeSalle in the early stages of this race, but as everything starts to brighten back up again for us, there's DeSalle on board with him. He's buried way down the order. Tony Cairoli, though, is our race leader there from Rui Gonçalves as they drop down the hill for the first time. And is that in third position?
That's Xavier Bourg, is it? Or Paulin? Paulin, I think, in third place.
Just having one or two image issues here. But Cairoli, Gonçalves, Paulin, Strybos, Simpson, Leop, De Dijker, Evgeny Bobryshev, Xavier Bourg, Clement DeSalle in 10th ahead of Vatitas Buchas, then Guarnieri, Porcel, that's Christophe Porcel, Santu Tienen, Jonathan Barragan, Matteo Bernini, Sebastian Porcel, August Just, Gert Kresenhoff and Kim Lindström. As we look to pick up the action. And we've just seemed to have lost our images here internally, so we will give you...
Paul, what was DeSalle doing with that move? He wasn't even having a look towards the inside, just came right across early on in the pack. I mean, it's just, you know, a ridiculous move to make. Maybe it was a little bit of a conspiracy with the onboard image just to get some action, some passing going in those early stages there.
So anyway, that's how it is at the moment. Cairoli, Gonçalves, Gauthier Paulin. We've lost our images completely in the broadcast area, but of course when they come back, so hopefully not affecting what's going on at home, but obviously difficult for us to comment without images. Adam Wheeler, but
I mean, Paul, the first top two we can see here from the timing screens, Cairoli, Gonçalves, they were the main guys in the qualification heat yesterday. Evgeny Bobryshev was also one of the fastest guys across the track. That was a little bit different. You know, yesterday compared to the softer, a few more lines, they were out there now.
And the images are on and off at the moment. Oh, it looks like we're back here. So, well...
Tenol Leop, I think...
yeah, not...
There's a KTM just behind him there.
Right, Tenol Leop, and is that Strybos? No, De Dijker, number 9. So there's Strybos just ahead of them in fourth position. De Dijker goes to the inside and forces the issue. And goes through. So Cairoli, 154.2, fastest man on track at the moment from Rui Gonçalves, 2.7 seconds down. Gauthier Paulin is third, then Strybos fourth. Then Ken De Dijker in fifth, Tenol Leop, and then Evgeny Bobryshev with Sean Simpson, Xavier Bourg, Clement DeSalle, and Davide Guarnieri, Christophe Porcel. A little bit critical, first time he'd been here yesterday, Adam Wheeler, and Christophe Porcel just said the track was very, very fast yesterday. Have you spoke to him this morning? Has he changed his mind now with it being a little bit wetter and a little bit rougher?
No, I haven't spoken to him this morning, but I mean, for sure, like I was saying earlier, Paul, this is a different track compared to what we had yesterday. A lot of rain through the night. I think some work as well by the guys here. I mean, you can see clearly there, 2 lines in the corner. Yesterday there was just one choice. So, you know, he's got to be a little bit happier. Yesterday he went out 2 or 3 laps down in the qualification heat and just followed Tony Cairoli to see what he was doing. So Christophe Porcel hasn't made the best start, which is unusual for him.
What about Clement DeSalle, though? Championship leader before we came here. He needed to go after Tony Cairoli, but maybe just over-exuberant on that first lap. He's now buried down in 10th place behind Sean Simpson and Xavier Bourg, unless they've gone... Xavier Bourg's gone backwards, hasn't he?
There's Simpson.
Yeah, so DeSalle goes through up into 9th. It looked like the white of Evgeny Bobryshev just ahead of them on the Honda World Motocross MX1 machine. So...
well, I mean, DeSalle's suffering with a cold this weekend, Paul, but I mean, it's got to be a head cold to him a manoeuvre like that on the first lap.
Well, there he goes through, and he's going after Bobryshev, but Tony Cairoli already 13 seconds clear of Clement DeSalle in the battle for the championship lead, effectively. And Adam Wheeler, after the Swedish Grand Prix, when we saw 2 zeros on Tony Cairoli, a lot of people were saying, oh, maybe he's going to get nervous now and all the rest of it, but 5 times the world champion. And, you know, you don't want to be coming here. It's almost like the football scenario, isn't it? You know, maybe with Manchester United or somebody like that, where they say, you know, if you get beat one week, you don't want to be the next team that plays them. And you don't want to be coming to Latvia 2 weeks later, do you? And then trying to face Tony Cairoli.
I think we're already saying that, Paul, after the press conference 2 weeks ago in Sweden. You know, it was like, okay, right, the money's got to be on Cairoli this weekend, and I actually put my money where my mouth is. So it's, you know, he's fired up, and he was already talking a race or two ago about having a more attacking, aggressive strategy at the beginning of the races.
Nice line there for Didiko, right round the outside, and found a way past Strybos. Sorry.
Yeah, but he had a few nice ones yesterday, Ken. But it's just a little bit typical of him, where he has 3 unbelievable laps, and then the next one he's having a look around him, and you know, as if he's trying to find a place to have a picnic. It's you know, Sean Simpson got some time back on him yesterday in the qualification heat.
Yeah.
So we'll just see if he can maintain that pace, because he's setting a 1:56, so he's second fastest on the track behind Cairoli at the moment.
Well, for Dessau, just looking ahead of him, he's got Bobby, Tanel, and Strybos. And not going to be easy for him, is it? The place where he took his first race win here, didn't he? Monticello, was that in the Czech Republic?
No, he nearly did it. And 09, I think he was leading at a clutch problem, and he couldn't make it. Oh, somebody's down.
Dessau. So Dessau going from bad to worse for him, as we lose our onboard camera, and Sebastian Pourcel goes through. So that's 14th now down there that's through the second corner. Lost the front end over the berm. Look at that. And then buried it deep. And he goes down. So 2 crashes in, 2 laps really for Clément Dessau. Just needs to pick himself up, regroup and focus, because the 3-point lead that he had is fast slipping away. Look at that. Oh, he's not phased there. The same maneuver gets it right this time on Sebastian Pourcel. Looks like the rain's falling down here in the early stage of this MX1 race, so conditions then are going to deteriorate. Goggle visibility is going to be a nightmare. Clément Dessau already going to have a lot of problems with goggles in terms of being roosted, and would have gone through a lot of laminates or a lot of roll-offs, so already at a disadvantage in that respect.
But, I mean, that move there he made was pretty risky, pretty aggressive, but to do it on the first lap, I just don't understand what he was thinking. Maybe he just saw Cairoli ahead and just lost a little bit of composure for a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see from the skies above, boy, this is not like a blanket grey out there. It's really windy, so it's like changing all the time. So if we do have a bit of rain, I'm sure it's not going to last long.
Yeah, I noticed that this morning. First thing when we got here, I thought, yeah, it's a bit breezy. And then I went out after the MX2 European race, and it was really windy then, you know, and I thought, well, it was going to be a little bit interchangeable. Said all through the broadcast today that today was the biggest chance of rain, you know, not just intermittent, but more on than off. And so far we've got away with it in terms of the race conditions, but just wondering how long this shower is going to last, whether it's the whole duration of the moto. But it's been strange, hasn't it, how many wet races we've had this year?
Yes, we haven't been too lucky with the weather. I was just looking at a graphic there, Paul, while you're talking. 31 seconds now between Cairoli and Dessau. So, you know, that red plate's going to swing back onto the KTM after this one race.
What about Gauthier Paulin? In the qualifying race yesterday, finished in 5th position, but didn't really make too much progress, did he? Started in 7th, but riders saying yesterday the track was so fast, so hard underneath that it was difficult to make passes.
I think also in Sweden, we've seen Gauthier so far in his rookie year riding that 450 like a 250, going all guns blazing. But in the last couple of races, he's just given a little bit maybe too much, or, you know, enough respect to that 450 and the power there. You know, we haven't really seen him at the front so much. I think he's just going through a little bit of a mid-season. Okay, let me assess where I am. How's my fitness? How's my feeling on the bike? And he's one of these riders that's so precise, so talented. But he does need to be feeling that extra edge and, you know, that extra bit of confidence to push it to the max.
Well, we're looking at Gauthier Paulin and Ken de Dijk here fighting over 3rd place. And if he's close enough, Ken de Dijk at the end of pit lane around that offset mogul to the inside. Oh! Almost off the bike there for Ken de Dijk. Got it completely wrong. I was about to say that if he's close enough, he's going to rail around the outside, and Paulin's going to find himself down in 4th position. But a big save there from the big man from Belgium, Ken de Dijk.
His mechanic Jeremy just giving him the hurry up. But he got his line wrong completely down the hill from the triple. He made a mess of it.
Hit a soft patch right there, and then look how wet it is offline from the earlier rain that we've had as well. But very, very lucky to keep it up on 2 wheels, and Kevin Strybos didn't quite find a way through. That'll have taken the win out of Ken de Dijk, but he's still there at the moment. He's still in 4th. "25 minutes to go, plus 2 laps in this first MX1 race here, the 10th round of the World Championship in Latvia. Adam Wheeler joins me from ontrackoffroad.com. Adam Wheeler, we were just talking about Ken de Dijk a moment ago and how much of a big save it was, and you look like you're about to jump in again at that, but This this race is a little bit crazy at the moment. We've got Cairoli leading and therefore taking back over the championship lead. Rui Gonçalves, we've not spoken enough about him, the factory Honda rider, number 999, teammate to the 777 of Evgeny Bobryshev. Good qualifying yesterday. Grand Prix winner here in 2009 in MX2. He certainly arrived here with his A game, hasn't he? Was good in qualifying, good in pre-qualifying, and so far so good in this first race.
Yeah, Rui's a good sand rider. I mean, and this track is very... that was the Leok bin in it over the side of the jump. But this track's very soft in certain sections and very hard pack in the others. But, you know, I think this is the first time we're seeing Rui getting near a stage of fitness and happiness on that Honda. So, you know, he's kind of nearing a little bit the form that he was last season where he picked up his first podium in the class. You can see how rough it's getting now. It's pretty hard out there. Yeah,
I mean, even like the TV cameras that are on the stations, you cannot see how choppy the circuit is. Even the onboard camera here from Clément de Sales, we've got Cairoli running the other one. But even through there, you can't see. You can see the ground's interchangeable, but it's so rough out there at the moment. And that is the thing about this place. It looks a little bit like a schoolboy track when you arrive, just a bit wider, but it does get brutal out there.
And now de Sales is the second fastest rider on the track, again behind Cairoli. I think he's going to take his 11th position, in one area on the graphic there.
Making it hard work for himself, though, isn't he? Going back to Rui Gonçalves, Honda announced their first rider of the team for 2013, Evgeny Bobryshev, but no mention of Rui Gonçalves. Is that just a case of it's still open for him, but he's got now until the end of the season to prove himself, or are Honda actively looking and speaking to another replacement, another definite rather than a possible replacement, do you think?
I think the situation in the paddock at the moment, boys, that all the factory teams have their first pick riders sewn up, more or less. You know, then it's a case of the second riders, the second saddles, where are they going to go? And I think Rui's in that batch of riders that include maybe Tanel Leok, David Philippart, Kevin Strybos. You know, there's a couple of riders there. Of course, you've got Jeremy Van Horbik as well, and Joel Rowland's coming into the class, and Max Nagel, and we haven't seen him so far this season. So you've got a little group of riders that are just kind of waiting to see maybe what Tommy Searle does, because he's the first pick for many in the MX1 section of the paddock for those second rides. And as soon as Tommy signs and makes his intent clear for 2013, then we'll see where people like Rui can fit in. But I mean, he's producing the ride at the correct time, isn't he? I mean, you could be cynical about that, but you know, he's, like I said, I think he's just reaching a stage of fitness.
Didika.
Yeah, he's on it, Didika.
Back on the rear end of number 21, Gauthier Paulin. So he's muscled his way back into contention and forces Gauthier Paulin over the berm at the top of the hill, the penultimate corner on the track. And Ken Didika taking no prisoners as he charges through into third place. So the Red Bull KTM's really on song here. Cairoli leading, Gonçalves second, Didika there in third. Number 9, Gauthier Paulin now drops to fourth, and Kevin Strybos on the HM Plant KTM, another rider we just mentioned a moment ago. As we look at the slow-mo here, a nice smoother line. Ken Didika got himself set up. Paulin
was expecting it a little bit.
He was right at the last minute, though, because he hadn't sat down at that point, and obviously he had nowhere else to go apart from over the berm, just to save himself from going down.
Well, we were talking about that group of riders who are kind of waiting to see what saddles are left for the rest of, you know, for next year. And I think Ken Didika, we forgot to mention him. You know, he's obviously in the KTM crew this season and has had 2 Grand Prix where he hasn't really done anything, but now he's put himself kind of back into the frame the same way that Rui's doing.
Clément de Sales, obviously still a Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 rider for next year anyway, but he's not going to be thinking about that at the moment. He's going to be thinking, how can I find a way up back into contention inside the top 10. 12th at the moment, going after Davide Guarneri, number 39.
Yeah, he'll be fuming, I bet. I mean, this is, he'll be lucky to get, well, he's got maybe 4 seconds to Christophe Pourcel in 10th place. You know, Pourcel is going to lose some ground in the championship if Cairoli goes 1-1, and you know, these 2 guys can barely scrape into the top 10.
Well, it was looking like a 4-horse race, wasn't it, with de Sales, Cairoli, Pourcel just 9 points apart, and then
Paulin
as a 4th horse rider, if you know what I mean, but just a little bit further back, 33 off the lead, but looking like advantage Cairoli again at the moment. Of course, still a lot of laps, a lot of racing to do, but doing what he has to do, and the cool, calm composure of a 5-time world champion, knowing need to get a start, get it focused, get around the first turn, stay out of trouble, and just let everything else take care of itself.
And then yesterday, Paul, KTM issuing that press release about Max Nagel being kind of released from the factory team, if you like, for next year. I mean, what did you make of that? They said it was over a difference of opinion to the configuration of the team, but they haven't closed the door. They said they would like to support him in a satellite setup, and you kind of, you know, you have to say that's fair enough, isn't it? Because, you know, he hasn't been riding. No, and I read an interview, you know, on him recently whereby, as we look at Strybos, Bobryshev, and Tanel Leop all battling over 5th, and Strybos in danger of losing it as Bobryshev goes around the outside. Is he going to force it down the inside? Nope, gets the door slammed in his face. And Tanel Leop, he'll want to do well this weekend with a little bit of home support. The Estonians coming just not so far away, just across the border really, but he wasn't too happy yesterday, Paul. I mean, he was having some problems with the setup. He said he couldn't find any traction, but, you know, this track, a little bit rougher, a little bit softer, you know, a bit wetter.
Drops it round the outside of Strybos and slots into 5th position. Sorry, Adam.
No, I'm just saying, so I think Tanel's, you know, either made a bit of a change to the bike or himself, but it's worked.
Leop goes through as well, so Strybos losing 2 positions in 2 corners.
Simpson's right there.
And Simpson will be rubbing his hands at that as well. He's now in 8th place, but looking to go after Strybos, who's dropped to 7th. But, yeah, Max Nagel, read an interview you just mentioned about the configuration of the team. And, yeah, I don't know if, you know, the last couple of years it's been a little bit difficult for him reading between the lines. Maybe it has been in terms of, you know, when the Italians sort of came over to, you know, to run MX1 effectively. But even still, you know, you've got to put that aside and say, well, you know, when you're running with an injury, and it's, I guess, a back injury or a long-term injury, we don't know how you're going to perform until you get back. I don't know if KTM have jumped the gun a little bit and said, OK, we're going to release him now, or if it is something a little bit more than that. But at the same time, Simpson goes through on Strybos. You've got to look at it and say, well, give him a couple of races to come back and then make your decision, maybe. I think that was what most people were thinking. Just under 18 minutes to go, plus 2 laps. There's Kevin Strybos, HM Plant KTM. He's now down in 8th position, having been passed by Sean Simpson. Look at the lap time, a 2:03.1 compared to the 1:57.6 of Simpson and Bobryshev, who went through a moment ago as well. Adam Wheeler, Tony Cairoli, 17 seconds clear. Haven't seen too much of him. Unlike the current championship leader here, Clement de Sal. As we get ready to go down to pit lane, Eric Gabors is waiting to speak to Amy. It'd be interesting to hear what he has to say over at Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1. Because Clement de Sal, as we see it, not making it easy for himself. And
yeah, he's past Guarneri now, so he's 11th.
But you can't afford to give ground away, can you? Here we go, we're going down to pit lane. This will be interesting.
Obviously, 2 weekends ago, a great GP for Clement de Sal. A bit of a few mistakes going on today. What do you think that's down to? Is he nervous?
Yeah, of course it's due for him to being out with a red plate now, and yeah, it looked like he's very aggressive, made 2 mistakes. Maybe he got his temperature down and hope he can minimize the damage.
Get the temperature down. Obviously, riding a little bit hot-headed.
I love the way Eric manages to take 10 years off himself by wearing that Rockstar cap. It's just, you know, young at heart and all that.
Yeah. So back with Clement de Sal then, 11th place. How far is he behind Christophe Pourcel? About 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds, something like that. Xavier Bourg another 2 or 3 seconds further up. Strybos, the one who's just losing the ground at the moment, though. Still the 203s compared to the 58s, 57s of the guys behind him. But yeah, you can't afford to give Tony Cairoli much of a head start. They gave him 47 points. He pulled it, you know, they pulled it back to less than 0, and here he is building on that again.
Well, the reason we're not seeing him, boys, because he's 20 seconds ahead. I mean, that's a hefty distance. The Diker is the one that's charging after Gonçalves. They should be in the similar shot in a moment.
Yeah, Gonçalves and the Diker. Yeah. Look at that. So this is a battle for second place, or it will be in the next couple of laps. 56, 1 minute 56.5 for Ken de Diker, 1:58.0 for Rui Gonçalves. I wonder now, with the last 15.5 minutes, Adam Wheeler, obviously Rui Gonçalves, the Honda World Motocross rider, hasn't been riding to his full potential due to leg injuries and rib injuries and that kind of thing. And obviously when you can't ride and train during the week, that will have an impact on your race fitness, won't it, during the race? Obviously, De Dijker has been pushing hard in all the motos that Rui's been struggling in. So I wonder now in the second half of the race if he's just going to be hanging on here, maybe thinking about the second moto and trying to put two good rides together, which he needs to do, as opposed to having, you know, a good one and then a bad one.
Yeah, I think you hit... Oh, Boog's running into trouble with Desal.
I think he probably just went down in the corner because Desal was on the opposite side of the track. Yeah, just picked himself up, I think, Xavier.
Well, he was in 8th place. And so Desal was in 11th, beg your pardon. So, yeah, he's gone, like you say, he's gone down or had some problems.
I think it would just be at the end of that wave section, rejoining the track at turn 1, possibly. So, Xavier Bourg out of 8th.
But you're right about Rui Gonçalves there, Paul. I mean, I have no doubt that Ken's going to be able to get him. But,
yeah, it's just a matter of time, maybe.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of aggression and attacking they've been looking for all season, the Honda World Motocross team.
Well, Gonçalves there in second, being caught hand over fist now by number 9, Ken De Dijker, who's now looking to pick off another one and take what would be his best position of the season. Ken De Dijker, of course.
Yeah, second.
Take a third in the first moto in Guadalajara. That's his only podium finish of the season. So looking to go one better in this first race here in Latvia. Got him up the inside. So Rui yields and lets Ken De Dijker through. And we've got a Red Bull KTM 1-2. Tony Cairoli leading from number 9, Ken De Dijker. So number 999, Rui Gonçalves, a mistake there from De Dijker as he came out of that right-hander. Gonçalves being dropped to 3rd position. He's got about 7 seconds before he runs into Gauthier Paulin, if that's the case. Because Paulin still there in 4th place. He'll be knocking on the door and he'll probably get the board to say that Rui's dropping back. Well, you'll be able to see him now. So Paulin's going to be a push. Let's go down the pit lane.
We're here in the building with Lorenzo Resta, the team manager of Honda World Motocross. Rui Gonçalves did a really good qualifying race yesterday, and he was riding second until now that he was just overtaken. But all in all, how is he feeling?
I think he's feeling very, very well because we have made some improvement on the bike, working with him really, really strongly. And for sure it's the best weekend of the year for Rui. I'm really proud about this because it showed that he's doing well, and let me tell you that he's deserving his well.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo.
Yeah, but we just see the Kawasaki looming in there. Gauthier Paulin, it was about 7 seconds a lap ago. We'll wait until Rui Gonçalves comes over the line in 3 or 4 corners time to see where that gap is and what his performance is in terms of lap times. So there's Ken De Dijker, 12:22 on the clock, plus 2 laps. He's well and truly in second position. Been a good race for Ken De Dijker, hasn't he? He made that mistake earlier on in the race, yeah. And he's now pushed back on, found a way past Paulin, found a way past Rui Gonçalves. Not going to say he's going after Tony Cairoli, but he's already put 3 seconds on Rui.
I think it might be a bit weird to say, but this will be the most crucial part of the race for Ken because he's done all the hard work. He's got to a point where he can't rise any higher, and now he's going to have to start looking behind him. Is his lap time's going to drop off? It's good to keep the camera on him because he's made a couple of mistakes where he's almost, ended up in the fence and he's out of the race. So it's, like you say, Paul, KTM 1-2. They're going to be over the moon with this, and Ken put himself in a good position for his first podium finish. I don't think he finished on the podium last year, did he? So maybe 2 years.
Well, be interesting to see what happens not only in the second half of this race, but also the second moto a little later on. Just looking a little bit further down, Sebastian Porcel, Jonathan Barragan, those guys not as high up as I expected them to be, but Gert Kresenhoff, a wildcard entry this weekend. He's down in 15th. Matteo Bonini 16th, Santu Tiainen is 17th, ahead of Kim Lindstrom, Mark Deruva and Milko Potazek. But Tanel Leok, how do you read his second half of the season? Because again, another rider who was struggling with injuries and almost being forced, not by the team, but just because of the situation, almost having to be forced to ride with injuries to not lose too much ground. And he's had some moments of brilliance, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Brazil, second race, he led for a while, and but it's just not clicked for him, has it, in the first half of the year?
He's just been suffering with racecraft. Speaking to him has been a bit like a broken record because he's been talking about his speed and lack of it, being able to pass riders at the beginning of the race. And, it was 20 minutes gone in a moto. He's found himself down in 11th, 12th, 9th position, and that's the most he can do. I mean, he's been fully aware of that, and I've hardly seen him smile all season. So it's, maybe this is the start of something a little bit better for him. I think Bobrishev's slightly quicker though. That last lap. It's going to be an interesting battle this for 5th because everybody else is pretty much spaced out.
Yeah, Bobryshev there, he needs a result. Obviously, we go to Russia in a week's time, brand new circuit, Semiguri. Of course, they ran the FIM Snowcross World Championship there earlier on in February, but it's the same town, same sort of area. But Bobryshev doesn't spend so much time going back home now, but would never have ridden the circuit, that's for sure. But he needs to start getting those results. But I guess for Evgeny Bobryshev, it might go one of 2 ways next week. Try a little bit too hard to put on a show for the fans and get on the podium, or just do what he's doing now, you know, trying to gradually rebuild his season. Because he's not had an easy time of it himself, has he?
I wouldn't mind betting there's no other rider in the championship that's going to face as much home pressure as you know, Evgeny next week. You know, I already hear there's like, you know, well over 100, you know, local accredited journalists coming, and you know they're expecting a lot of people, a lot of fans. You know, I think it's going to be a major spotlight on him. So it's going to be, like you say, interesting how he handles it.
But not just him, of course, Alexander Tonkov in MX2, the Garibaldi Honda Esther rider. So he'll be looking forward to it, I'm sure. But you know, it's necessary to go to Russia and these places like Thailand next year, for instance. You know, to help develop the World Championship. But at the same time, you know, the situation in Europe isn't getting any better, so we have to go where, you know, where we can stage the races.
I mean, we could see a fantastic reception to the sport, you know, in Moscow, and it's quite funny actually because you know, Bobrishev's been having a little smile to himself where everybody's talking about their difficulties in getting visas and stuff, and kicking the inside line and making it stick there. And he's got Pourcel just ahead, so we're having a look at the potential victims of Clement Dessau here. He can work his way certainly up to 8th and maybe even catch Sean Simpson for 7th. Strybos really just maybe a bit of arm pump, I'm not sure. Paul just he's not, maybe you expected a little bit more from him in these kind of rough conditions.
Yeah, Kevin Strybos, especially after you know, a couple of 3rd overalls in Belgium and what was it, Brazil, Sweden and Brazil, I think. But he rode good in the Belgian Grand Prix, a couple of 4th place finishes for 4th overall. But yeah, I would have expected something a bit more, but Dessau Suzuki just getting a bit of a kick there through that right-hander down towards the finish line area, just showing you how tough this circuit is going to be for the second half of the afternoon. And the frustrating thing for riders here today is that, you know, as they try to make up more ground, you know, they're being forced into deep areas. We saw Clement Dessau just after the finish line turn, that right-hander where Jake Nichols made a mistake in MX2. Just, you know, just gets a little bit deep and soft, but watch the bikes, how they behave coming into this here. As
sorry, Paul, if Strybos had made the same move Dessau made earlier, then they would have both ended up in a heap.
Lap 1 we're talking, yeah? So Clement Dessau up into 9th position. That's Christophe Pourcel just ahead of him on the CP377. Monster Energy Pro Circuit. Kawasaki had a torrid time in qualifying yesterday, found himself down on the deck at the bottom of a heap with his brother Sebastian and Xavier Bourg and I think it was Guarneri, and just came in for a lap or so to get the bike straightened out, went back out to try and match the pace of Cairoli and Gonçalves, and I think he would have felt a little bit more comfortable getting those kind of speeds in, but again, just struggling with the conditions here a little bit, but I think he just wants to get through here and then look to see how it goes from there. I was talking to Christophe Pourcel yesterday for quite a bit of time, and he was saying about wasn't too fussed that Cairoli had actually got 47, 50 points or so clear in the championship as he's coming under pressure now from Clement Dessau, and was looking at the calendar saying, as Dessau goes through, looking at saying that the tracks that are coming up, apart from Russia, because he doesn't know anything about it, are tracks that are going to be good to him. Do you see that as being the case as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think he made his Grand Prix debut at Lockett, was it 2004, 2005, you know, so that track is up after Russia. But, you know, the critics of Christophe Pourcel will be, you know, pointing their fingers at a race like this where he hasn't really found, like, his groove with this track, and you can see, you know, there's barely any resistance to Clement Dessau. He's clearly sort of flying at the moment. And, you know, this is where those precious points can be lost. I mean, we saw how close it is in MX2 with Tommy and Herlings, and it could end up being that way in MX1. I mean, Cairoli's a country mile ahead. I mean, he's just cruising now. He's 15 seconds ahead of Ken de Dijker. But, you know, I mean, Christoph, for me, you know, it's not really fighting for every championship point at the moment. But then we are talking about a rider with an immense amount of experience, both in Supercross, Motocross, and, you know, all over the world.
I know he's looking forward to going back to Matterley Basin, middle of August, which is that 4-day festival of motocross. But a lot of people on the calendar like that place as well, don't they, Matterley Basin?
Yeah.
It's a good spectacle, good wide open circuit, a long track as well, and has a bit of everything for the riders.
Yeah, and it also depends what the British weather does. If it's wet, it'll get nice and rough and, you know, a little bit loamy. And obviously have Johnny Douglas Hamilton working on the track again. He's always produced the goods in the past. So, yeah, it's Matterley should be always one to look forward to, especially for the atmosphere.
So 4 minutes 41 on the clock, plus 2 laps. Kenda Dyker has weathered that storm in that period of action that you just mentioned a moment ago, a few minutes ago. Adam Wheeler from ontrackoffroad.com, because obviously he got into that second place and, you know, done all the hard work, as you pointed out. But while he's 15 seconds down on Tony Cairoli, he's still 5 seconds up on Rui Gonçalves. So Gonçalves hasn't challenged. And Gauthier Paulin, more interestingly, hasn't found a way to close down Rui Gonçalves. That gap still 6 seconds. So Gonçalves looking good for a race podium here. Took a 4th in a second moto in Valkenswaard, and also it was Peter Carrero 4th in the first moto there. So he's been close a couple of times, says Rui Gonçalves, but never really threatened the podium other than those 2 occasions.
This is pretty much, you know, what people were predicting the race was going to be yesterday. When it was dry, it was hard, you know, it wasn't getting as rough as it is now. And I think it's such a very delicate balancing act, because if we had two much rain, then you would have had just one kind of dry line, and, you know, it would have been pretty static. And we had like a coating which has kind of made it a little bit more varied in terms of what the riders can choose and what they can use. But, you know, it's just it's getting a little bit processional now with those gaps between the riders, and nobody really able to make any time until there's some mistakes in the offing. And it's easy to make a mistake, as we've seen from the guys out here.
Yeah, I was watching the European MX2 race earlier as well. We just had a fresh downpour and rain. There was obviously water on the track as well in the evening, and there was a definitive drier line coming, leaving the outsides a little bit wet and a bit mushy and everything else, but that started to evaporate and disperse during MX2, and it's made it pretty much almost, I guess, the perfect racetrack for these MX1 guys. And I was a little bit nervous when the rain started to come on, what, lap 3 or lap 4, that we might be in for rain for the day. But as you can see, the wind's blown it all across. The bright skies are back out again, and hopefully the track won't change too much between now and, well, I guess MX2 race 2 and just over an hour's time, something like that. So,
but Sean Simpson next, Paul, on Clement DeSalle's little list to attack.
Radar.
Yeah.
Simpson seems to be happy, doesn't he? Switched garages in World Championship sense, anyway. Gone from Steve Dixon's Monster Energy Yamaha squad to the Rinaldi squad. We touched on it, I think, before in Sweden. Maybe a slightly different engine that he's got, but hasn't really sort of found the speed this weekend, although, you know, 7th place in the race, he can't moan about that. But DeSalle charging hard here and looking to push him back down the weight.
Yeah, it's all about the engine character. I mean, Sean's a lot happier on that bike, you know, with a smoother delivery, and you know, he's making himself big, you know, across those racing lines, and he makes the start, keeps his position, keeps a solid consistent speed, and that's kind of, you know, half the battle, really. I mean, it'd be interesting to see where DeSalle can try and get around him, and if Sean really knows right now that DeSalle's there.
I'm sure he will be able to
move up the inside here. He needs to hold it. No.
Well, not scared to run it down the inside, Clement DeSalle, as you might see from this angle.
Watching him yesterday, he likes to square off these corners. He's not really flowing through them. He just likes to cut through and then get on the gas, and he's away.
Who's this? DeSalle?
Okay, Simpson. So
just got a bit too much height there as well on that takeoff, and DeSalle going to run it around the outside. Not going to get through there, though.
The danger for Sean here is to get passed by DeSalle and then get swallowed up by Purcell. That was a mistake yesterday Sean made just in that corner there, and he lost a position in the qualification heats, finished 6th. But no, 2 good top 10 rides is what kind of Yamaha need as well, because, you know, they just don't really have any kind of presence at the top of the leaderboard in this class, with David Philipparts and Stephen Frossard being out injured for the year. And DeSalle, he's come out to his spot here. Paul gets a bit more drive. No, he's not going to be able to do it this time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Simpson's lines, actually. It just seems to be riding a little bit conservative in the remaining few minutes and few laps of this race, just going for the safer option, you know, not really creative, going wide on some of the corners, leaving the door wide open. And DeSalle just taking the shorter route through the turn. Okay, it might be a little bit choppy initially coming out of the turns, but DeSalle maybe just the slightly better lines at the moment. Even there, look, Sean Simpson just wider than he needs to be, but...
Yeah. He's been struggling on that wave section, I was saying to him yesterday. He needs to find an extra couple of tenths, but, you know, the Porcel, look, coming right back.
Yeah, DeSalle just making that mistake right at the top of the hill. That's allowed and presented an opportunity for Christophe Porcel, 377. So this is not just become a battle for 7th between Simpson and DeSalle. Christophe Porcel has got involved as well. Was that Xavier Gorg in the background? I think it was. So we've got 3-4 guys going to be challenging Sean Simpson, as it looks like it's trying to rain again out there, so it won't be too much of a problem for the riders in the closing stage of the race. But suddenly, DeSalle making a couple of mistakes. Like Strybos in there, look.
Yeah, I mean, also to the people watching at home and also the kids there, just keep a watch on the styles of Porcel and also DeSalle. A little bit of difference there, how DeSalle's attacking the track and Porcel's just looking for those smooth lines to gain him a little bit of extra momentum out of each corner, going through the straights, picking the smoother parts where it's not upsetting the bike too much. He's getting a little bit more traction, momentum. You know, and that's what's brought him right up to the rear wheel of the Suzuki. So Clement's been a little bit wild the last lap or two, just trying to find a way past Sean. Sean's doing what he needs to do, and that's defending the line. He's hanging wide, but then cutting in tight. I think he's had a look behind him on that last tabletop round the back, so now he knows that he's got some work to do in his last 2-3 laps.
Xavier Borg having another look back at the 22 of Kevin Strybos. So 1-2-1, Xavier Borg, the factory Kawasaki rider. I think he made a mistake that previous lap because he was ahead of Strybos, but Xavier Borg going back to have another look. Strybos just going to try and do his best for the next 2.5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier Borg should really be at the front of this group, wasn't he? He was in 8th place when he seemed to drop it or stopped in a corner. We didn't quite catch it on camera, but he lost a lot of time. Maybe DeSalle, you know, has he pushed too much? I mean, he's been suffering with the cold. He's not 100%. If he's been like on fire since he's made those mistakes earlier in the race, then has he got the energy to go all the way through?
Well, they've broken the 377 Porcel just there on that last lap. Sean Simpson and Clement DeSalle. So 2 to go. DeSalle then maybe looking to make a push for that 7th position because every point counts now. He's within striking distance, really, of the World Championship. He comes here as the championship leader, but again, just having to work extra hard. Will he go around the outside or up the inside over this offset mogul?
Sean just going around, keeping that inside. He must know DeSalle's going to be there and he's going to be trying to get him.
He's closer than he was a lap ago, Clement DeSalle, which is going to be a little bit nervy for Sean Simpson, 24 on a Monster Energy Yamaha. Red plates all around that Rockstar Energy Suzuki championship leader, Clement DeSalle, 3 points before he came here. So obviously with Cairoli leading and...
Cairoli's got 9 points back on the championship now if it stays where it is. Oh, DeSalle almost crashing. I mean, he's every lap there's some little kind of moment really that's just, you know, costing him time.
And that corner there, when you look at it from a different angle, it's hard and shiny. The riders have to get on the gas to get through that first wave. They want to try and double it, you see, and they can't quite get the power down, and it's just hard sandstone almost underneath, and then the softer dirt around the outside. And every lap somebody's spinning up there and getting into trouble. Simpson did it a few laps ago. I think Xavier Borg probably went down going in there when he made his mistake, but it's not the first time, won't be the last, that we see that happening on that part of the racetrack.
Yeah, I was standing down there watching the MX2 and the riders are like walking pace through there. They're really, like you say, Paul, just searching for anything so they can just hook up and go through the rhythm section. You get a nice view of it here.
See the...
You can almost headbutt the ground here, like this gets really low.
Obviously Sean Simpson maybe sort of reacting to Simpson going a bit deep as well, try to get out a little bit early, and at the same time just, you know, over exuberant, needs a little bit of throttle control through there. Very easy to say from here, of course, but there's Tony Cairoli, that same corner. Look at that, just throttle control. And
I'm not sure we've seen him quite so dominant in any GP quite so far this year. You know, Porcel was miles away in Brazil in those extremely wet conditions, but for Tony's controlled this race from the first 4 or 5 corners.
Yeah, and already starting to play to the crowd. Obviously enjoying being back out front. Must have seemed like an eternity for him after no score in Sweden last time out, but did win in Bastogne, of course. 2 race wins there, but
yeah, we didn't quite get the jewel on the onboard cameras that we were hoping for. But
hey, there's always a second moto.
I'm just keeping it. We're going to watch Tony pretty much to the end of this lap, I think. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on the timing screens here to see if there's any change in that battle for 7th with Simpson, DeSalle, Porcel and Strybos. I mean, yeah, you run down, you've got Cairoli, Didaika, Gonçalves, that's the top 3. Paulan, Bobryshev, Leok, and then that
These
little
guys
battle.
are coming through the second split now, so Cairoli, Didaika, Gonçalves already through the second split, so too Gauthier Paulan. But Tony Cairoli then making his way down. Final jump on the track, he takes the Monster Energy finish line jump. Business as usual for Tony Cairoli, winning here, moto number 1 in Latvia. A little bit further down the order, Ken Didaika, we wait for him to come through.
Simpson. There's no Simpson.
So I think, yeah, DeSalle has probably found a way through, unless that's Simpson. No, he's lost ground, I think.
Has DeSalle gone down again? No, that's, what is that, Paulan?
I think DeSalle has probably just lost ground on Sean Simpson. We're waiting for them, because they're over on this side of the circuit. Look, just ahead there.
He's in 7th. If he's behind Paulan and Bobryshev, just ahead of him.
I think that's Simpson up high. Oh, no, he has gone through.
Yep. Sean very careful. He's going to be losing that place to Porcel. An attack on this down straight here. He needs to keep the gas on all the way through here.
But DeSalle, he takes the flag, comes over the line in 7th position. So Cairoli, Didaika, Gonçalves, Paulan, Bobryshev, Tanel Leok in 6th, Commander South 7, Sean Simpson, Christophe Porcel, and Kevin Strybos, with Xavier Borg losing a few positions when he made that mistake just earlier on in the race. Guarneri should come home 12th from Barragan, Porcel and Prestonov. So nice and lively down there. Adam Wheeler, good race for MX1. Lots of stuff to talk about, but Tony Cairoli going to be the talking point, isn't he? 14.6 seconds clear of Ken Didaika, a Rebel KTM 1-2, more importantly for them.
Yeah, I mean, he had a 20-second gap at one point. He probably looked at his pit board and thought, right, I've got it. So, you know, the rest of the afternoon, Ken Didaika finishing in the top 3. What's your little chart on the wall say there? When was the last top 3 finish for Didaika, Paul?
So, Ken Didaika then, back on the podium.
For 5 GPs. First time in 5 GPs.
It always makes me nervous when the mics are on down there, because I never know what I'm going to pick up these days. But obviously the KTM camp very, very happy. Cairoli, and he's actually gets on very, very well with Ken Didaika, doesn't he? Tony Cairoli, I think. He doesn't mind having him in the team anyway, I think, as a teammate.
Was that a bit of tongue-in-cheek there, Paul?
No, I think they, you know, from having conversations with him.
They're an unlikely duo. I saw him walking through the paddock earlier. It's like little and large, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, here we come, boys. Sort of kind of Cray figures, you know, or something like that. It was, I don't know, pretty intimidating when you consider the 5 World Championships and Ken Didaika's 6'2" frame or whatever it is.
Gold plate as always, but without the red
it's back
boundary.
Now. Is it 12 points, 11 points now?
I think we said it was 9, didn't we? Probably less than that because he found a way past Simpson. 8 points.
8 points.
Well, thanks to Adam Wheeler for joining us in here in the booth again. Much appreciated as always, Adam. We'll see you over the course of the weekend. But official classification, Moto number 1, Cairoli wins again from Ken Didaika, Rui Gonçalves, Gauthier Paulan in 4th from Evgeny Bobryshev, Tanel Leok, Clement Desalle and Sean Simpson. 9th for Porcel and 10th for Kevin Strybos. Xavier Borg was 11 ahead of Guarneri, Barragan, Porcel, Sebastian, Krestinov, Mark Deruva, Matteo Bonini, Milko Potacek, August Just and Davis Lives. So 2 Latvians down there in the end. In terms of the championship, Tony Cairoli back on top by 8 points over Clement Desalle. Christophe Porcel just losing a little bit of ground as well. But Gauthier Paulan 4th, Didaika 5th, Strybos with Leoc down there in 8th. Philippart's dropping down. Gonçalves he stays in 10th place actually. And we look at the rest there.
Tony, congratulations, first race win of the day. How was that first moto for you?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I get all shot, and then everything is easier. You know, when you get all shot, you are clean in front. It's way easier the first laps. I pull a good gap between me and the second rider. So I could control in the end because in the beginning I saw the weather was changing, it was raining a little bit, and I tried to push as much as I could in the beginning to get some gap because I thought it was keep raining, and yeah, then the last 10-15 minutes could be pretty difficult with the rain, but then it stopped rain, so it was even better. And the track is really rough, and I think second moto gonna be even more difficult. But we are here for make it again a good race and hopefully win the GP.
Well done, and we'll see you second race.
Back to normal for now then for Tony Cairoli. Good start, stayed out of trouble, managed the gap, opened it up to almost 15 seconds, and already looking forward to what should be a rougher, tougher circuit in Moto number 2. And obviously he's thrown down his intent. Clément Desalle obviously came here as the championship leader, but was just a little over-exuberant on the opening lap, tried to go from 3rd to 2nd, and then another mistake, and obviously left himself battling through, can only get back as far as 7th. So as a result, Tony Cairoli now 8 points clear of Clément Desalle. He's back in control of the World Championship lead after Moto number 1. But big news, Ken de Dijker, who finished 2nd, making it a Red Bull KTM 1-2, back on the podium for the first time since Brazil. Here he is with Amy.
Ken, it's great to see you riding back up in that top 3 again.
Yeah, feels good. Didn't have much training the last 2 weeks because of the crash last Sweden, but yeah, it seems like everything was going well. I stayed up in the first corner and finally back where I belong. I hope I can do it the second moto, and want to thank also the team and all the people behind me because they had a tough time and me also.
Well done.
Ken de Dijker back where he truly believes he belongs out on a podium. And nice comment there. Actually kept it up on 2 wheels for the first time coming through the first turn. He's had so many of those in recent Grand Prix that it's not even funny anymore, but managed to stay out of trouble. Made 1 or 2 mistakes, but didn't stop him from pushing and re-pushing, getting back into 2nd. And he followed home his teammate. 3rd was Rui Gonçalves, first time on a podium for him this year as well. So the Honda World Motocross rider. Be interesting to hear what he has to say.
Rui, congratulations, first top 3 result of the year. How happy are you?
Yeah, I'm super happy. You know, this is what I've been waiting since the beginning of the season. You know, like I worked so hard, and just some bad luck. It was difficult to make it happen today. I had a good race, had a good start, and then in the beginning we rode really strong together with Tony, and we could pull a good gap. And then Ken was a little bit halfway, a little bit faster, so he took over, and I managed to finish 3rd, and super happy with this. I want to thank all my team for all the support, and all my family, and special thanks to my girlfriend.
All the best for the second race.
And Rui Gonçalves, the first of the 2 factory Honda riders to make it onto the podium this year. Even his teammate, Evgeny Bobashev, only managed to get as high as 5th on 3 occasions. So Lorenzo Resta, Paolo Martin, Roger Harvey, all the guys down at Honda, their sponsors, of course, will be more than happy with that, because that has been a very, very long time coming. Almost ironic as well, actually, that it's Rui Gonçalves that takes 3rd in this first moto, given the fact that he hasn't yet been announced as a member of the team for 2013. So there you go. Well, that's it for MX1 and MX2 footage for now. Join us in 1 hour's time when we return for MX2 Race 2. My name's Paul Malin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you when the World Championship season concludes here with this Latvian Grand Prix. We'll be back in an hour's time. Bye for now.